ID and then class and considering the with tag name and considering the CSS taking with link text and taking with partial link text here, right? So which need to be get taking care about, which need to be get taking care about in having with these particular 8 types of options. In that particular 8 types of options, in that particular 8 types of options, working with name and then ID and then class, followed with the same steps. Working with the name and then ID and then class, followed with same steps here. That means just you are referring with HTML code. You are just referring with HTML code. By referring HTML code, by looking into the highlighted one, if name is available, we are using it. If not, looking into the ID. If not, trying with the name. So that is what I told that you guys need to be take with the practice of in preparing this particular kind of Excel. I mean, for the practice purpose, you have to come up with taking with each and every object. For that particular each and every object, what exactly the name we got, what exactly that particular name we got, and ID we are having, we are using it. So how we are getting these information once you done with the right click, once you done with the right click, see that that is what we got application HTML code, you are looking into the name option or taking with ID option or taking with class option. So just you are understanding that how we can get that particular required options. That is what the practice need to be done. That is what need to be get comfortable in utilizing further steps here. Now, according to that particular application, we got tried to identify different kind of objects. In that, we got taking with add button and taking with delete button. If we consider this particular add button and delete button, according to the code, according to HTML code of add button, according to the HTML code of add button and delete button, if we look into that, now we can see here, I'm taking with inspect, I'm taking with inspect and considering that referring this particular highlighted one. Once you refer, once you refer that particular highlighted one, in that particular highlighted one, we have to see that is there any name option or is there any ID option or class option. So according to the comparison of add button and delete button, there is no concept of name option, right? So there is no concept of name option, and at the same time there is no concept of ID option. For both the objects, for both the objects, There is no concept of name option and there is no concept of ID option, but which we got in a class. Class is provided, but the problem is class has been provided as a duplicate. That means we cannot go with we cannot go with this particular identifying the object by using name option, ID option, class option. So these three things are not available. As these three things are not available, we are trying with another option that we will be taking with XMARK. So let's see that how we can identify that particular object with the help of XPath here. For that, if we just considering this particular XPath, if we just consider this particular XPath, we need to begin mentioning that the meaning of XPath, definition of XPath, we can say that group of nodes. The meaning of XPath and the definition of XPath, we can considering that group of nodes. That particular group of nodes, the meaning of node in the HTML code, in between of less than and greater than symbol. In the HTML code, if I take with the right click, any HTML code, less than symbol, greater than symbol. This is the less than symbol, greater than symbol. This is one node. This is one node. This is one node. Anything provided in between of less than and greater than symbol, considering that one particular node, considering that one particular node. Now this particular one having with two types, in that one we will be mentioning that absolute XPath, the one we will be mentioning that absolute XPath, and another one taking with relative XPath. So we got considering that absolute XPath and taking with relative XPath. So meaning of absolute XPath, meaning of absolute XPath, any XPath started with this particular one, considering that XPath started with HTML tag. XPath started with HTML tag, right? So which need to begin considering that XPath started with HTML tag that will be taking with absolute XPath. Similar to that, taking with relative XPath. Similar to that, it will be taking with relative XPath. That particular relative XPath, we need to begin consider that particular relative XPath. We need to begin consider XPath with attribute. So in simple, one is XPath started with HTML tag, another one XPath started with, this is considering that XPath started with attribute. So how we can get this particular XPath? How we can get this particular XPath? Let's see here. This is what you need to go the practice step by step. Now for each and every object, we need to be trying. The one you will be taking with absolute x path, and then which you will be taking with relative x path. The one you will be trying with absolute x path and then taking with relative x path. Now see that how exactly we can get that particular x path. See that how exactly we can have. Let me try add button only. Let me try add button. How you will get the text path? Very simple. Very simple step. Very simple step. Just go with the right click. Just go with right click. Once you done with the right click, once you have been done with the right click, you will be taking with inspect, which you will be taking with inspect. Once you done with the inspect, you got highlighted one. You got highlighted one. In the highlighted one, you need to take with right click. In the highlighted one, you need to take with right click. Just if you do the right click, you will get the simple option copy. You'll get the simple option copy. From there, you will get two options. One is copy XPath, another one copy full XPath. One is copy XPath, another one copy full XPath. You're getting the two options. You're getting with two options. One is copy XPath, another one copy full XPath. Right? So the meaning of copy full XPath, it will provide absolute XPath. The meaning of copy full XPath, it will provide absolute XPath. The meaning of copy XPath, it will provide relative XPath. It will provide relative XPath. Now we can see. I'm just clicking on this copy full XPath. Now what it will provide? It will provide copy, right? It will provide that particular absolute XPath. Now we can see here it has been started the tag name of HTML. If we look into this tag name, it has been started with HTML. Now let's try with relative XPath. The same add button only. Copy and then taking with copy XPath, which you will be taking with copy XPath. That particular one, copy XPath, copy XPath. I can see here that particular one copy XPath. It will provide relative XPath. Now we can see here. So if I just consider, it has been provided relative XPath, which has been started with ID attribute. Right? So I mean, considering that the meaning of absolute XPath, started with HTML tag, and the meaning of relative XPath, considering that started with attribute. So this is how for each and every particular object, you have to take care about. For each and every particular object, you need to be get take care about in identifying that particular XPath, because maximum XPath can be applied. Maximum XPath can be applied for any of the object. XPath can be applied for any of the object. Okay. Now you can see here. For example, delete button. For example, delete button. How we will do? Very simple. Doing the right click, doing the right click, and then inspect. Once you done with the right click, once you done with the right click and inspect, once you done with the right click and inspect, just go with highlighted one, just go with highlighted one, and then taking with that particular copy, and then I'm using copy full XPath. By that, it will provide that particular absolute XPath, right? So this is how we have an option. This is how we have an option in providing that particular respective XPath here. At the same time, we got relative XPath. At the same time, relative XPath. Same thing we can try. The same thing we can try. Taking with right click and then copy XPath. It will provide that particular relative XPath. It will provide that particular relative XPath. So this is how you are able to get that particular XPath. I mean, based on that particular HTML code, based on that particular HTML code, automatically, based on that particular HTML code, automatically we are able to get that particular respective XPath here. It's not like only these two. Anything you can try. For example, username text box. For username text box, I required. For the username text box, I required this particular one. As simple, do the right click, taking with inspect. Once you done the inspect, you will get highlighted one. Then taking the copy, taking with copy XPath. Copy XPath means it will provide relative XPath. It will provide relative XPath. So which will be having that particular relative XPath. So the meaning of relative XPath getting started with attribute. Right? At the same time, you require absolute XPath. You required absolute XPath. Taking with right click, taking with right click and doing the copy and taking with copy full XPath. Right? So by that you will be able to see. So just provide that, you will get that particular XPath. So this is how we have an option. This is how you guys need to take the practice of documenting all the object details. You have to take care about, in documenting all that particular object details here. Okay, so that at least minimum you have to try for login module and PAM module. At least for login module and PAM module. For these two modules, you need to try to take the practice based on your time comfortable. You need to take with the practice of remaining all other modules here. So this is what we have an option. This is what we have an option taking with name and then ID, class, absolute XPath, relative XPath. Okay, so this is how we have an option. Now assume that because of some reason, because of some reason, we are not able to identify the object by using these two things. You tried with absolute XPath, still object not identified. You tried with relative XPath, still object is not identified. Right. So in case of we are not able to identify the object by using these two things, then under relative, under relative, don't be confused. XPath is two types only. XPath is two types only, considering that absolute XPath and relative XPath. Considering that absolute XPath and relative XPath. In case of not working under relative, under relative, we have another option. Under relative, we have another option. Considering that, considering that XPath with attributes. Under relative XPath, we got another option considering that XPath with attributes here. Okay, right. So now we can see here. Now, while working with the attributes, while working with the attributes related to that, while working with the attributes related to that, we got another option. While working with the attributes related to that, we got another option. What is that option? We got considering that XPath. XPath with single attribute. So XPath with single attribute. After that, after that, XPath with XPath with multiple attribute. XPath with multiple attribute. After that, after that, XPath with XPath with XPath with single attribute, XPath with multiple attribute, and taking with XPath with text attribute, XPath with text attribute, and then and then XPath with XPath with contains, XPath with contains, and then XPath with XPath with starts with. XPath with starts with. So this is how we have different options to identify the object. This is how we got different type of options to identify the object. Everything XPath only. Everything XPath only. Under XPath only, we got in a different type of options because identifying the object is our target. Identifying with the object is our target. Object without identifying the object, we cannot continue with automation. Because of that, any kind of the application, any kind of the application, we have to take care about. Any kind of the application, we have to take care about in identifying that particular respective objects here. Okay, so further considering that, further considering that, taking with, considering that, taking with, understanding one by one. So let's understand how we can work with these things here. First one, single attribute. See the name. In the name itself, it is clearly saying in the name itself, it is clearly saying that single consider general meaning of single. What is the general meaning of the single? Right. So the general meaning of single, we need to begin considering the taking with other one. Right. So the meaning of single, we need to begin considering the in taking with one. Right. So just you have to take with only one attribute. When you're identifying the object, you have to take only one attribute. You have to take only one attribute and need to identify that particular object. So let's see that how exactly we can do. So let's see that how exactly we can do that particular activity. For that, in case of absolute XPath and relative XPath, absolute XPath and relative XPath, directly we got a copy option. But these particular attributes, it's not like in a directly copy option, not like directly copy option. We have to we have to write by our own, not like directly generating. We have to come up with by our own here. So by our own, we need to begin coming up with writing all these particular XPath. So how exactly we can do that particular activity? How exactly we can do that particular activity? For that, see the syntax to be followed. Like in Java, you guys will follow some syntax, right? Like creating the class, creating the method. You will follow some syntax. In a similar way, to go with this particular XPath also, we need to follow certain syntax here. That is XPath with single attribute. First is two forward slashes. First you have to provide, two forward slashes. After that, taking with HTML tag name, you need to provide, HTML tag name. You need to provide HTML tag name. Two forward slashes, and then taking with HTML tag name, square brackets, at the rate symbol, taking with, attribute type, taking with attribute type equal to, attribute type equal to, mentioning the attribute value, taking with attribute value. So that is what the syntax need to be followed. That is what the syntax have to be followed to work with XPath with single attribute. XPath with single attribute. See the syntax. What is the syntax? First is two forward slashes. After that, HTML tag name, and then square brackets, and then at the rate symbol, attribute type equal to attribute value. Right? So this is what we have an option. This is what we have an option here. I mean, this is the syntax. According to the syntax, you have to write it. Let's see how you can write. I'll try by one. We'll go with one by one. So first we are taking with, considering the XPath, with single attribute, single attribute. So how exactly we can do here? What is this object? Username. Okay. Everything HTML code only. Without having the HTML code, you can't continue. So here, what you done? You are taking with two forward slashes. You're taking with two forward slashes. After two forward slashes, what is the syntax? What is the syntax? HTML tag name. After two forward slashes, you have to provide HTML tag name. So according to this HTML code, what is the tag name we got? According to this particular HTML code, what is the tag name we got? What is the tag name? Input. Exactly. The tag name we got input. Because of that, as it is, directly you will write as a input. As it is, directly you will be writing as a input. So you need to be get provide, considering the taking with input. Okay, right. So once you provide that particular input, taking with square brackets, and then that particular square brackets, taking with at the rate symbol, taking with at the rate symbol, that particular at the rate symbol, we need to provide attribute type. We have to provide attribute type. See the attributes what we got. Name is one attribute, type is one more attribute, class is one more attribute, tab index is one more attribute. So according to tester comfortable, according to the tester comfortable, you can utilize any of the attribute. According to the tester comfortable, you can get utilize any of the attribute. So I'm taking this particular name. I'm taking this particular name attribute. So how you will write? What is attribute type? Name equal to what is that particular attribute value we got provided. So this is how we got an option. This is how we got an option in providing XPath with single attribute. XPath with single attribute. But we created this XPath, right? This single attribute, this particular single attribute, we created this particular XPath. So we require some confirmation. Either this XPath has been correct or not. We required some confirmation. Taking with this particular one correct or not. Okay, so because of that, to confirm that this is correct or not, you will be taking with HTML code. From the keyboard, you have to press Control F. Then you will get this text box. I'm clicking on cancel. Again, I will take with Control F. Okay, and whatever the XPath you written, you will provide here. Now click on enter. See the application, not HTML code. If when I'm clicking on enter, let me click. If I click on enter, you guys see the application. Username text box highlighting in the blue color. If you look into the application, in the application, that particular username text box highlighting. So that means we can confirm that. The XPath we written is the correct one. That is how you can confirm that the XPath you have been written is the correct one. So this is how we have an option. This is how we have an option to confirm that X path has been correct or not. Okay, so this is what you need to come up with in writing the X path of single attribute. So you guys need to take the practice. That is the reason I told that to have this kind of Excel. By that, it will make you more comfortable in understanding. So now let me try the same thing for let me try the same thing for password text box. Let me try for password text box. Okay, so password text box, what you will do, just right click and inspect. Now again, see the tag name. You got the tag name is input. So see the tag name is input. You have to provide, you need to provide as a input. So two forward slashes, you have to provide, you have to provide two forward slashes and then taking with input. After that, square brackets and then taking with at the rate symbol. Now we need to provide attribute type equal to attribute value. We need to provide, we need to provide attribute type equal to attribute value. So how we are providing that? So you have see the attributes. So what are the attributes we got? We got name attribute, we got name attribute, type attribute, class attribute, tab index. So we got different type of attributes. We got name attribute, type attribute, class attribute, tab index. Different type of attributes are there. Okay, now you can see here according to the tester comfortable, according to the tester comfortable, you can utilize any of the attribute. Now you can see here I'm taking type attribute. You can go with name. Sir, I'm comfortable with name, I'll work with the name. You can work with the name according to your comfortable. You can work with any of the attribute. Okay, now you can see here considering that taking with type equal to in a single code you will provide it. Now we need to confirm that, we need to confirm that, we need to cross check that, we need to cross check that either this is correct or not. So what you will do again, you will copy this, you will go to that particular one, you will just take with Control F. Okay, and then you will provide it. So if you click on enter, if you click on enter, it is highlighting that particular text box. So once we click on enter, it is highlighting that particular text box. Then we can confirm that, then we can confirm that our XPath has been correct. So this is how you have to take care about, this is how you need to take care about in identifying the object with the help of the XPath. In a similar way, in a similar way, let me try for this label. In a similar way, let me try for the label. Right. So what is it? Login name label. Let me try on that in writing. So if I try with this particular label, if I'm taking with this particular label, now you can see here, I'll be taking with HTML tag. What is the tag name we got? TD. I got in a tag name is TD. What is attributes? Align attribute, class attribute. Two things we got. Now what I will do, I'll take align attribute. I'll take align attribute. Any attribute, whatever it is available, whatever it is available, I can go with any of the attribute. Now I'm providing two forward slashes, two forward slashes. What is the HTML tag name? TD. Whatever the tag name is there, whatever the tag name is there, you will provide that particular tag name. Whatever the tag name is there, you will provide that particular tag name. So you are not worried why the tag name is provided. We are not worried about all those things here. Our target is because of the selunim automation, because of the selunim automation, we need to identify that particular object. Okay, now let's see here. So taking with that particular one, considering that you will be taking with input. Sorry, what is it? TD. So which you will be taking with TD. Square brackets and then taking with symbol. Symbol ID equal to in a single code you need to provide. So what you have to provide? Not ID, right? Not ID. What is that symbol? Align. That attribute is align. Align equal to in a single code. Align equal to in a single code you have to provide. Now let me cross check. Let me cross check whether it is correct or not. Let me cross check whether it is correct or not. Let me confirm that. Taking with now from keyboard Control F you will provide. Now we can see if I click on enter, it is identifying. Again I'm clicking on enter, it is taking password label. If I click on once again, in the top it is identifying. So when I'm clicking for multiple times, it is identifying the multiple objects. That is not the correct one, right? How many times you are clicking, it has to be identify the unique object only. That means for this particular label, if I'm trying with the technique of XPath with single attribute, that is not working. So because of the single attribute is not working, we can try with multiple attributes. So this is how we got in a lot of options here. So if one option is not working, we need to try with. If one option is not working, we need to try with another option. Okay, now how you can work with multiple attribute. If you want to work with XPath with multiple attribute, how you can work? Very simple. See the name. You got a multiple. Meaning of multiple? What is the meaning of multiple? Right. So as simple, we can consider that more than one. The meaning of multiple, we can consider that more than one. So the meaning of this particular multiple attributes, we can considering that more than one. Now we need to follow that particular syntax. We need to follow that particular syntax here. So let's see that particular syntax, what exactly need to be get followed. If we consider that particular syntax, again same thing. Two forward slashes, taking with HTML tag name, square brackets, symbol, attribute type equal to attribute value. but we are working multiple attribute. Multiple attribute means more than one. More than one, two. After 2, 3, 10, 100, whatever it can be, based on availability. Based on availability, based on availability, we need to be get use it. Right? So based on availability, we need to be get use it. Okay, so now you can see here, considering that you will be taking with, considering that you will be taking with, again, at the rate symbol, attribute type equal to, you will be taking with attribute value. Attribute type equal to, attribute type equal to attribute value. So according to that particular requirement, according to that particular requirement, whatever that particular attributes are there, you can utilize with any of the attributes. Identifying the object is our target. Identifying the object is our target. Which option need to be get use it depends on the tester. Now, let's try. Let's try with this technique. So here, single attribute is not working. Now, I'll go with multiple attribute. I'll go with multiple attribute. This particular one, considering that XPath with multiple attribute. You can try same for one object. You can try with all the possibilities. In case of multiple attribute, how we can try this one? So taking with two forward slashes, writing with input and then square brackets. Okay, so taking with square brackets, considering that at the rate symbol, name equal to, what is the name we got? What is the name we got? txt username. This is single attribute. Multiple attribute means you have to take one more attribute. What is that attribute? You have to look into HTML code. According to the HTML code, you can take with any of the attribute. Right? Now, you can see here, considering that taking with name attribute, type attribute, class attribute, tab index. Name attribute, type attribute, taking with the class and considering that tab index. Right. Now, according to your comfortable, you can go with any of the attributes. For example, name we are already written. We can go with the type, you can go with the class, or you can go with the index. Let me take class. Because now we are working multiple, right? So here I will be taking with class equal to in a single code you have to provide. Now this is you are considering that XPath with multiple attribute. XPath with multiple attribute. Let me cross check correct or not. So just taking with Control F, providing the text path. So if I click on enter, how many times I click on enter? How many times I got click on enter? It is identifying the same object only. So how many times I got click on enter? It will identify the same object only. So this is how you can come up with XPath with multiple attribute. XPath with multiple attribute. Let me try label. Right click and inspect. So now what are the attributes we got? Only two attributes we got. Align is one attribute, class is another attribute. Align attribute we are already written. So now I'm taking with class. See that, see that. So here, two forward slashes, the two forward slashes taking with the TD square brackets, taking with the TD and then square brackets, considering the at the rate symbol, at the rate symbol, align. So at the rate symbol, which you will be taking with align equal to, align equal to. So here that you will be taking with right. Now we are adding one more attribute that you will be taking class equal to. By that it will cross check that both the attributes. It will try with both the attributes which it will be taking with. It will try for align attribute and it will be taking with class attribute. Okay, so that is what you have. At the rate symbol need to be provided. Okay, so like this, how many attributes you want to use it? How many attributes you want to use it? You can provide, you can provide that particular attribute. You can provide that particular attribute. So now let me cross check that working or not. So again, Control F, providing it. So if we click on enter, it is taking password. Again enter, login. So again enter password. If we click on enter, login. Now see this object, see this object. I tried with single attribute, not working. Tried with multiple attribute, still it is not working. Still it is identifying the duplicate. Those two are the attributes. We have only those two are the attributes. We tried with the both attributes. We tried with the both attributes, but still it is not able to identify that particular object. Still it is not able to get identify that particular object. Still it is taking with duplication, right? So you have been trying with the single attribute and trying with multiple attribute, still having the issue. So because of that, you need to try with one more technique. You need to try with one more technique. That is what you will be taking with text attribute. So this is how selunim guys has been provided. Selunim guys has been provided different type of options according to that particular project, according to that particular tester comfortable. According to the tester comfortable, you can utilize any of the object. Identifying the object, identifying the object is our target. Which technique, which technique, which option, which technique, which option need to be used? That will depends on tester comfortable. In case of need to be get work with text attribute, in case of need to be get work with text attribute, how we can work with text attribute, right? Let's see that. So for that you will be taking with syntax two forward slashes, two forward slashes, taking with HTML tag name, HTML tag name, square brackets, square brackets, no concept of at the rate symbol, no concept of at the rate symbol, mentioning dot, taking with the text equal to. In a single code, in a single code, you need to be provide text details. Okay, so here it's not like mandatory of all the techniques. Any one technique as simple, that is what the best example I told. You have 100%, you have to call one person. When you're calling any person, how you will be calling? Name. If you got only one person, no issues at all. If you got multiple person, you will try with first name. Still multiple persons, will try with last name. Still multiple persons, initial. So until unless you are getting with one person, until unless you are getting with the one person, you are trying with different options. Same thing applied in automation. The same thing has been applied. The same thing has been applied in automation. So here you are trying to identify one object. If that is working, no issues at all. Not working, then only how to come up another option. Now, as part of learning, we are learning, right? As part of the learning, as part of the interview, we need to be get comfortable taking care about what are all that particular options need to be used, right? So as part of learning, as part of the interview, we need to be get take care about, we need to be get take care about having with taking care about all the syntaxes. Because of that, we are looking into that what exactly all that particular syntax to be followed. Now let me try with text attribute. Let me try with text attribute. See the options here. One by one, we are looking into the lot of options here. So here, if you get consider the one you got single attribute and then you got multiple attribute and considering the XPath with text attribute, XPath with text attribute. So how you can do this? Again, same. Let me try username only. Let me try username text box. So I'm just taking with username text box, right click. Now, if I'm referring the highlighted one, is there any text available here? If I refer this highlighted one, any text is there? You have attributes, you have HTML tag, any text? No, right? There is no text here. There is no text here. Because of text is not available. Because of text is not available. This is type attribute. This is type attribute. There is no text at all. Because of that, you will consider that not applicable. So one particular object, what are all the possibilities? One particular object, what are all the possibilities we are trying to get understand? Okay, so considering that taking with not applicable because we can't identify by using test attribute. Let me try the label. Let me try the label one. Just taking with right click and inspect. Taking with the right click, taking with the right click and taking with inspect. Right. So now you can see here. So which will right click and inspect. Right. So need to be get wait 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Wait for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Right. So here, so if we get considering this, this particular one, so you need to be get mentioned. You need to be get mentioned. Third, let's try on this XPath with text attribute. So again, right click. Now what is the tag name we got? TD. As it is, you will write 2 / and then taking with the TD and taking with the square brackets, providing @ symbol. Sorry, no @ symbol. What you will provide? Text brackets equal to. We have to see any text is available. Now refer the highlighted one. You have align attribute, class attribute. Able to see some text here. Login name. Able to see some text here. So we got some text. Considering that login name. So as it is, we have to use. So here in a single code, you will provide, including the spaces also, including the spaces, including the spaces, you need to be get provide. Now you can see here, considering that just cross check that correct or not. Further, if I go with this particular one, if I'm referring, if I click on enter, now we can see how many times I was clicking, identifying only one object. Previously, when I'm trying with the single attribute, multiple attribute, it is not working correctly. But now it is working correctly. So that is what the concept here. So how we can identify, how we can identify particular object, how we can identify particular object. So that is what we need to be get comfortable. So that is what we need to be get taking with. So now, if I'm referring this highlighted one, these are the attributes we got. Align is one attribute, class is one attribute, but you are able to see some text here. Nothing but just group of characters. It can be login name or it can be numbers, whatever it can be. So group of some characters you are considering like a text. So in the highlighted one, you are able to see. In the highlighted one, you are able to see. So that will be taking with, that will be taking with text attribute. So this is how you have to look into that, identifying with the object with the different type of techniques. So we got single attribute, we got multiple attribute, we got text attribute. In the similar way, in the similar way, we got two more techniques here. Considering that XPath with contains and XPath with starts with. These two things similar. See the syntax, how you will follow. Two forward slashes, two forward slashes, HTML tag name, HTML tag name, square brackets, HTML tag name, square brackets, and then taking with contains, again brackets, at the rate symbol, at the rate symbol, attribute type, comma, taking with attribute value. Okay, you are using the one keyword of contains. Here also same thing. Two forward slashes, HTML tag name, HTML tag name, and mentioning the taking with starts with, taking with starts with. Again, considering the at the rate symbol, taking with attribute attribute type, comma, taking with attribute value. Starts with attribute type, comma, attribute value. So this is how we have an option. This is how we have an option here. So which you will be taking with, which you will be taking with contains, and then you will be taking with starts with. This is how you have an option in utilizing that particular respective syntax. So the same thing you can follow. You can try with anything. You can try with anything. Considering that XPath with contains. XPath with contains. Similar to that, XPath with starts with. XPath with starts with. One you will be taking with XPath with contains, and another one XPath with starts with. So how you will do? Very simple. Two forward slashes, two forward slashes. This is username text box. What is the tag name? Input only. I'll take with name attribute. So taking with input square brackets. See here, that particular square brackets taking with what is that? Contains. Taking with contains, and then at the rate symbol, taking with the name, comma, in a single code, you need to be get provide. In a single code, we need to be get provide. This is how, this is how we have an option. This is how we have an option XPath with contains. Now see here, if I just take with Control F, it is identifying. The same thing you will do starts with. The same thing you will do starts with. So in a place of contains, in a place of contains, in a place of contains, you will be taking with, you will be taking with, starts with. You will be taking with, starts with. What make the difference? I'll discuss in tomorrow. For now, just we are trying to all the syntaxes. We are trying with all the syntaxes. If I click on enter, highlighting. This is starts with. This is starts with. This is starts with. Taking with. Highlighting it. So this is how we need to be get comfortable in preparing this particular Excel. This is what you guys need to take the practice, then you will become in a more comfortable. Okay, so please take care about the practice. Please take care about the practice of this particular object identification. So by that it will become an easy to write our Selenium program here. Okay, so for tomorrow, take with the practice of this. Tomorrow I'll give the difference, and tomorrow we'll try to complete this object identification. Remaining four are very small things, and then we'll start writing the programs on Selenium. Okay, so please take care about the practice of all these things here. All right, guys. Okay, please take care about the practice. We'll meet you tomorrow. Yep. In case of any questions, you can carry. Okay. Okay, guys. Please take care about the things. Meet you tomorrow. Thank you.